What's up guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another breakdown video. This time we are still on the Green River, the Gates Lador section of the Green River. We're moving upstream a little bit. But before we get into that, if you guys are enjoying the series, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there in the comment section. I love reading them. I love answering your guys' questions. You can leave any sort of feedback. It helps me grow as a content creator and helps me kind of figure out what you guys want to see out there. I'm doing the Lador section of the Green River here because I know it's a very popular spot for people to raft. People love to raft this section. It's pretty easy to raft, but that being said, you can also get in trouble doing this section. So that's why I'm taking some time to do some videos on this section of the Green River. So if this isn't what you're looking for, I'm sure I have other breakdown videos for you if you want to go take a look at those. Let's get into the video here. In this video, we are taking a look at a rapid called Triplet Falls, or Triplet. As you can't see it here in the video just yet, but there's a few things I wanted to point out right off the get-go here. The very first thing is the scout. If you see this kind of whale, fin-shaped rock over there on the left side, and the beach next to it, that's where you're going to stop to scout Triplet Falls here. You're going to basically walk along the left side of the river all the way down around the S-bend curve here, down there by the cliff there on the right side. The river does go down, kind of hook back to the right a little bit, hooks back to the left, and then hooks back to the right again, creating a bit of an S-curve going through the rapid there. That's something I wanted to point out. Just use it as landmark features for you as you're going through the river here in the rapid. So I'm going to fast forward here a little bit. And I'm going to pause it again right there. From the positioning of my boat here, again, just like the last video when I did the Hell's Half Mile video, this is actually a run I did with oars. I am running a bag boat, or basically a gear boat. There's no people except for me in this boat. But other than that, I wanted to pause it here to point out the shallow area here. You can see my fellow boat down there. As they're going through the shallows there, some nice riffles here, class 1, class 2 riffles as you're going down around the corner there. Triplet Falls is a class 3 rapid, so just keep that in mind. Also, the water level on this run was about 1200 to 1800 CFS. This section is dam controlled, so the water fluctuates throughout the day, and then that kind of leads to a longer overall running season throughout the whole season, which is a pretty nice thing anyway. But keep an eye on the shallows there because you don't want to be bumping into rocks too much there. It could put you off the line you want to be on and get you really messed up as you're going into the meat of Triplet itself. That being said, you can see the curve of the river as it heads back to the right side there and up against this big cliff here. You do not want to be next to the cliff there. And I'll point it out and show you as we go further in here. I'm just fast forwarding through this section. There's my phone. But I'm fast forwarding through this section because it's just a section that you really need to keep your head on a swivel for rocks that are in the water. There's a few that pop up in here. There's one kind of low hanging rock right there in the water. There's one right there as I just floated past. There's another one right in front of me there. So a good positioning through the shallow section is kind of center of the river. You can be to the right or to the left a little bit. I would recommend being more to the left side just because you get these rocks that pop out on the right side. But again, this is just a section to keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you don't get on those rocks. It could be a bit of a fight to get off of a rock, and once you fought to get off of a rock, you could be tired, or you could be sore, and that puts you into a really dangerous situation when you're going into a triplet here or any other big rapid. So big thing is to keep your head on a swivel as you're going into the meat of a rapid. I keep saying that, and I'll actually show you Triplet here in just a little bit. At least what I consider the main body of Triplet anyway. So again, lots of little rocks in there. You want to be careful of those. And you can see I'm putting my boat more center left here, working my way around the inside of this turn instead of the outside of the turn. Again, you don't really want to be up against that cliff. Fast forward here a little bit. And right here you can actually see the main body of Triplet. It's these rocks here in the water that go from the right side where those big boulders are all the way to the left side. And it looks like they're it looks like there's not a line as you go through it, but there is. It's just hard to see from this angle. But you can see a little bit of white water splashing up. You got this big kind of house-shaped rock there. I think it's what we'll call the house rock here in Triplet. And then right next to it on the left side, you get this kind of more rounded rock on the top with a flat rock kind of laying back behind it. And the main line of the rapid is actually to the left of that rounded rock there. But you don't want to go too far left because you have this kind of peninsula or spur rock sticking in the river there that bars up the left-hand side. And that's the main run right there, kind of center left, or sorry, yeah, center left-ish in the river. You can be center, you can be center left, but not too hard. I actually go a little bit center right, kind of up against this boulder right there, and I'll show you why. So I say center left. I would actually say more center to center right of this rapid here. I do not recommend going between this rounded rock and the big house rock there. There's a channel there, it's called the Birth Canal. It's the channel that is a killer here in Triplet. It's really skinny, it looks like you get through with a kayak. I've seen rafts go through it. I had front row seats for a raft going through it, not on this trip thankfully, but I did see a raft go through there, and I don't know how they didn't swim the rapid. I don't know how they stayed in their boat. I don't know how they managed to make it through without spilling anything out of their boat. But I've seen it happen, and I've also seen people having to rescue out of that position as well, and it is not pretty. So my suggestion is to stay away from the birth canal. And we'll get a better view of that as we go further through the rapid here. Again, I'm kind of on the left side of it, with my nose still pointed to the left there a little bit. Again, staying away from the big right wall there. Doing a little drop there, and right about here you can see the line better right there. Like I said, kind of in the center there, and you can see the water pushing out towards the left side, and then to the right side of that rounded rock you'll see the birth canal right there. Again, I recommend staying away from the birth canal. In this video I'm keeping my nose pointed to the left there. I'm actually going to get pretty close to this rounded rock right there, and I'll actually play the video instead of just fast forwarding it so you can see how everything works out. But basically what I'm going to do here is kind of hug up to this rounded rock there, slip to the left of that, to the left of this flat rock, and then work my way back to the right side here, because there's another little spur of rock there on the left side that if your boat gets pushed up on that, you could actually pin a boat, you could put your boat up on a rock. And even though it's a better position to be in, it's something you definitely want to avoid doing again. So I'm going to play the video now instead of just fast forwarding it. So right here you can tell I'm kind of hugging this big rock. I actually bang my oar on that as I go past. To the left of the big flat rock again, and follow the curve of the river as you go through it there. And then right about here, I've actually started to back row a little bit. These rocks here, especially that one right there, kind of the center of the frame, will be the one to grab you, especially if you get too far to the left side, excuse me, of that little channel I went through. I'd recommend staying to the right side, not too close to that big rounded rock, but you know, you can kind of touch it with the oar. Do it lightly. You don't want to lose the oar, you don't want to get flung out of the boat, but you can touch it lightly. But don't go too far right, because it's a bit more of a fight to get back. Sorry, don't go too far left, because it's a bit of a fight to get back to the right side. And you can actually use this eddy right here to help pull your boat back to the right a little bit. As you can tell, I'm pulling away from this rock here, and I barely make it away from that rock. But as you can tell, that's a big rock with a lot of current pushing on it. All these are, you can kind of put a boat through there, but it'd be a little harder than just, you know, a couple back rows back to the right side a little bit and just following the current around. Right here, where all the other boats are at, is an awesome little gathering spot just in case something does happen out there on the river or in the rapid. You can stop there, wait for your friends, wait for your buddies, wait for your group, which is always a nice thing to do. Wait for everybody to group up there again, you know, figure out any situations you need to, and then you can jump back on the river and keep working your way down. Another nice thing about this, and I almost had to do this on one of my runs with oars, is you can actually beach your boats there and then run back upstream safely to help out any boats that are upstream that got into a sticky situation or anything like that. So it's an awesome spot to have. And then once you're free, you just float on through it. No, not too bad. Here over on the left side of the screen, hopefully my my face isn't in the way at all. You can see the birth canal and then the main line you're going to take through it. I have a second video, just like all the other videos I've done, where we can get a good view of the birth canal, so I'm going to swap over to that now. So this video is actually video from my very first run down the Gates Lador section, starting just above the shallows where I talked about before. The main differences between the two videos were this one was at a higher water level, so there's a few rocks that are under the water now that could be, you know, harder to spot. And I'm also in a very small, or smaller, excuse me, cataract, which is a little bit more maneuverable. The boat I was in with oars was an 18-footer, a heavy boat because it's loaded down with gear. This boat was a 14-foot cataract, and I had my gear plus a cooler plus I think a groover can and a little bit of water, so not as heavy at all. So I could get around a little bit easier. Again, this is the shallows here, and you just watch out for rocks as you're floating through there. Again, I'm just going to fast forward through this so we can get to the main kind of meat of the rapid, and I'll just let the video run. Alright. I said I was going to let it run, but I'm going to take it back just a tad bit, and I want to talk to you a little bit about this. I remember coming to this point and actually looking downstream and thinking, oh geez, how am I going to get through this? Because I just saw a line of rock right there. I didn't actually see the channel or the line you want to take, which could be definitely a little bit disconcerting. That's why I pulled over to the left side a little bit, trying to catch some of that slower water and staying away from that right side wall again. You know, just stay away from that wall. Alright, I'm going to hit the play button and just let it play. Basically what I'm doing right now is just sizing up the rapid, looking for that line. And once I spot it, I just go for it. Again, pointing the nose of the boat towards the left side. And then after that, I move back to the right. Again, this boat is a little bit more maneuverable, so I could actually push forward instead of having to pull forward. Or pull back, anyway. And so that's basically the run through Triplet. It's not really that challenging. It can be a little scary at times, especially if you've never done it, or if you're doing it for the first time with a really heavy gear boat. I met a few oars people on my 3 trips down there, some of which who were a little, you know, scared to get out there. It is a little scary doing it for the first time with a commercial company, especially if you're rowing an 18-foot gear boat. But again, I wanted to point out here, on the river right side is the birth canal right there. I don't go near that, of course. And then on the river left side is the main channel right there. This eddy that I'm pushing my boat into at the moment is a nice eddy if you can get into it. It's a great spot. You can look upstream and see people coming around just to see if there's any trouble up there. It's a nice spot to anchor, or you know, just kind of stage a boat if you need to go into a rescue position. You can stage a boat there. That way you have almost immediate response to get out in the current if there's a swimmer over here, or you can get over into the birth canal a little bit just in case someone ends up into the birth canal. Hopefully nobody does, but it does happen on occasion. Because kind of a cool little thing that happened in this run is I actually paddled my boat all the way up here, or rowed my boat all the way up here. There's another great look at the birth canal there. But I was very photo oriented on this run, so I paddled or rowed my boat all the way up here to this rock, jumped out onto the rock, basically laid on my belly with a line attached to my quick release on my PFD there, just in case the boat was really starting to pull me. And I actually got photos of people coming through here, so I want to kind of pull that up because it was a really awesome spot to take photos. So like I said, I got some photos there. This is one of the photos I got. I just love this photo because of the raw emotion on this IKer's face. And it's kind of a nice example of what not to do as well. If you notice this yellow boat there, he's pretty darn close to that right side. This is actually the boat I saw go through the birth canal, and it scared the absolute crap out of me. They went in there, like I said, I don't really know why they did not flip over or swim or anything like that. They got in there, wedged for a second, and then just kicked itself out. I don't know how it did that. I don't. Pure luck. I don't know why. But that being said, this is just another breakdown of Triplet here. Again, if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, anything you want to tell me, criticism here and there, please leave it down there. I love reading it. It makes me a better content creator. It just kind of helps me to see what you guys are kind of interested in watching, interested in learning. If you like this breakdown stuff, feel free to say, hey, great breakdown videos or whatnot. And other than that, I will catch you guys in the next video.